All right, so today we're going to be doing a deep dive on this new development in India, the building a new missile testing range.
Mm.
And it seems like it's pretty interesting. So we've got this article from Wisdom Lab about it,
Hmm.
and it looks like there's a lot to unpack here.
Yeah, you know what really jumps out at me is it's not just like a general missile testing range. It seems like they're really focusing on tactile missile systems, like the stuff you'd use in close combat,
Yes.
you know?
Right, exactly. Like the article specifically mentioned surface-to-air missiles
Mm-hmm.
and anti-tank missiles as examples.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and they even talked about DRDO, India's Defense Research Organization,
Yeah.
They're apparently working on these, what do they call, very short-range air defense systems,
Right.
or VSORAD for
And
short.
yeah, VSORAD, those are pretty cutting edge. I mean, think about it. In modern warfare, things can change so quickly. You need to be able to react instantly. And these VS-ERAD systems are designed to take down threats like right away, whether it's an aircraft or a missile. So this testing range will give them a chance to really refine those capabilities, see what these systems can do.
So where is this testing range being built, does the article say?
Yeah, it says it's going up in Nagalanka, which is on the eastern coast of India in Andhra Pradesh.
And why there? Is there something strategic about that location?
Well, for one thing, they need a lot of open space, obviously. But being right on the coast gives them access to a huge expanse of open water, the Bay of Bengal. So they can really put these missiles through their paces, test them at different ranges under all sorts of conditions. It's something their older test ranges just couldn't offer.
Right, that makes sense. And of course, the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh is pretty excited about this whole project. The article mentioned that he sees it as a win-win,
Hmm.
boosting India's defense capabilities and also giving a jolt to the local economy.
Yeah, for sure. You're going to have job creation, technological advancements, all sorts of ripple effects throughout the region. Plus, this isn't India's first foray into building this kind of testing infrastructure. They already have the Integrated Test Range, the ITR,
Yeah.
and the Machilipatnam Test Range project.
So this new facility is sort of like the next step in a larger plan.
Exactly. And it seems like this plan is all about self-reliance. India's been pushing this Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative, which is all about becoming more self-sufficient. And this is a concrete example of that, investing in cutting-edge technology so they don't have to rely on other countries.
Yeah, that makes sense, especially with all the global uncertainty going on right now, like the tensions in Ukraine and Taiwan. A lot of countries are starting to rethink their reliance on others for defense.
Definitely. It seems like India is taking a very proactive approach to securing their own interests. And it's not just about missiles either. The article also mentions that they're buying Predator drones from the U.S. and working on new nuclear submarines.
Wow. Okay, so they're really serious about this. They want to be a major player in the global defense arena. But what do you think all of this means for the average person? I mean, why should someone who isn't a defense expert care about a new missile testing range in India?
That's a good question, and it's one we'll definitely be exploring further in this deep dive. Stay tuned.
Mhm.
It's a good question. At first glance, it might seem like something kind of far removed from everyday life, like something out of a Tom Clancy novel.
Right.
But when you really think about it, it all boils down to power dynamics on the world stage. And those have real consequences for everyone.
I see what you mean. So we're talking about India trying to solidify its place in the world. But it's a crowded stage, right? Especially in the Indo-Pacific region.
Exactly. There are a lot of competing interests there. And as India becomes more powerful, well, it could deter some potential adversaries, but it could also make others nervous. And that could lead to an escalation of tensions.
Right, it's like a delicate balancing act.
Exactly.
And we can't forget about the economic side of things either.
Yeah.
India becoming a major player in defense technology. That's got to have some ripple effects on the global market.
Oh, absolutely. We're talking about potential shifts in who buys what from whom. And those kinds of changes can impact economies all over the world.
So this is about more than just missiles.
Right. It's about India signaling to the world that they're serious about developing and producing advanced technology. And that could attract foreign investment, boost innovation, create all sorts of opportunities, not just within India, but for countries looking to partner with them.
So it's like a chain reaction.
Okay.
This one testing range could set off a whole series of events.
Precisely.
But let's maybe zoom back in for a second and
Oh.
talk about the testing range itself. What kind of capabilities are we talking about here? The article mentions state-of-the-art facilities, but what? What does that actually mean?
Yeah, good point. I mean, they'll be testing these VSA-Durad systems we talked about, but it's more than just launching missiles and seeing what happens. Think of it like a giant high-tech laboratory dedicated to missile development.
Okay.
They'll be analyzing every aspect of these systems, range accuracy, speed maneuverability. They'll be pushing the boundaries of what these weapons can do and looking for ways to make them even more effective.
So they're not just testing existing systems, they're also working on developing new ones.
Exactly. And that's crucial because the world of defense technology is constantly evolving. What's cutting edge today might be obsolete tomorrow. So you have to be constantly innovating to stay ahead of the curve,
That makes sense.
especially when it comes to things like artificial intelligence and autonomous systems.
Oh, wow. So we're talking about weapons that can basically think for themselves. It's kind of like something out of a sci-fi movie.
Yeah, it is.
But it's also kind of unsettling when you think about it, putting that much power in the hands of machines.
Yeah, that's definitely a question worth pondering. And it highlights another key point. This testing range is just one small piece of a much larger puzzle. As countries around the world invest in these advanced technologies, we're entering a new era of warfare. The rules are changing, the stakes are getting higher, and it's all happening so fast.
It really makes you wonder where all of this is headed. It really is amazing to think about. You've got all this incredible technological progress, pushing the boundaries of what's possible. But at the same time, you have to wonder about the consequences. What happens when these weapons become even more advanced?
That's the big question, isn't it? And it's something we need to be thinking about now, not after it's too late. I mean, we've seen it over and over again throughout history. Technology can be used for good or for evil. It all depends on the intentions of those who wield it.
Right, and that's what makes this whole topic so fascinating. We're not just talking about gadgets and weapon systems. We're talking about some really big philosophical questions about the future of humanity.
Absolutely. This isn't just about military strategy or technology. This is about the kind of world we want to live in. And the choices we make today will have a huge impact on that.
So where do we go from here? What are the key takeaways from all of this? I mean, we've covered a lot of ground. India's ambitions, their push for self-reliance, the implications for the region, the ethics of advanced weaponry.
It's a lot to process for sure. But I think the biggest takeaway is this. The world is changing, and it's changing fast. Technology is advancing at an unprecedented rate, and it's having a profound impact on everything, including warfare. We need to be aware of these changes. We need to have these tough conversations about the implications, and we need to make sure we're not just sleepwalking into a future that we don't want.
Couldn't have said it better myself. I think that's a perfect note to end on. This has been a really thought-provoking deep dive, and I hope it sparks some curiosity for our listeners.
Definitely, we've only scratched the surface here. There's so much more to explore, from the specifics of India's defense program to the broader questions about the future of warfare and the role of technology in our world.
Absolutely. So if you're interested in learning more, I highly recommend checking out the full article from Wisdom Wave. It's a great starting point.
And don't stop there. Read different perspectives, do your own research, and most importantly, think critically about what you learn.
Great advice. The future is in our hands, and it's up to all of us to shape it responsibly. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. And until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.